all the disrespect before you play back. Button check. Button check.
What is up, Butt Check family? Welcome back to yet again a beautiful day, a beautiful Friday. The weekend is here. We done made it. EVO Japan is here. All these buttons must be checked. Chapters down below. We got a hot weekend ahead of us. So check this out. Not only is EVO Japan underway, day one is a wrap, so we'll talk about that. But also, man, the Japan community is pissed off. I mean, they are really pissed off with the way the whole Daigo versus Mena event went down. We talked about some technical difficulties on yesterday's video, but the Japan community, including Bonchan, are being very vocal to the point where even the EVO general manager is speaking out. There's a lot. There's a whole lot. So let's check some buttons. Without further ado, let's enjoy. Let's go. All right, first up for that Japan FGC is Outraged and Disappointed buttons that need to be checked. So we already know Daigo obviously versus Mena is a wrap. Apparently, Japan community is really upset. They're frustrated. They're posting everywhere. And surprisingly, it has nothing to do with the result. They're not saying anything about the gameplay or Daigo losing or anything like that. It's about how the event was ran, technical difficulties, and how they feel disrespected to where I guess the Westerners or EVO took over and just pretty much diminished and showed lack of respect. So starting right here with Bonchan, and mind you, this is a rough translation. A lot of the comments we're about to read are translated from Japanese to English. So right here, Bonchan sets it off saying the Beast Path was an event Uma-san took time to organize, focusing on humans in a way that he had never done before, featuring a combination with deep-seated rivalries and backstories that were crucial. It wasn't just about feeling frustrated over a loss. It stirred up emotions so intense, like something you truly couldn't forgive. Those words alone felt too provocative even to try capturing it. What bothered me the most was whether Uma-san's pre-match interview properly reached people outside of Japan. That bizarre pre-match performance where they asked for winner predictions in the venue made no sense. If you knew anything about Beast Pass, it would never happen 100%. It was such a regrettable way, let me get that again. It was such a regrettable way to present it, and it made me so sad. Not just some exhibition, you know. The match itself was 100% Mena's triumph. He achieved something unprecedented. Congratulations. I have so many gripes about that event despite never usually sharing my feelings on SNS at all. I just had to write this because I really wanted to get across. I hope it improves. This has 33,000 likes. Now, one of the key things he said that stood out was, he was like, I wonder if Daigo's pre-match interview actually stood out to people outside of Japan, because he said a lot more things that were impactful and that stood out, but they weren't translated. Then I guess they were offended that they were doing this whole thing. Who do you guys think are gonna win? Clap if you think Mena's gonna win. Clap if you think Daigo's gonna win. And that community took that as straight bullshit. They were like, what is this? Like, we don't do that here. I even see Brian F. kind of confused about this as well, adding in saying, can anybody provide full context on what Bonchan and a lot of the JP community are critiquing with EVO Legends? I know there were many production issues, but it seems deeper than that. In regards to audience interactions, it's hard to exactly pinpoint what went wrong. Underneath right here, kind of breaking it down, saying two specific things he mentions here on how Daigo's pre-match comment on, so apparently Daigo said, I'm turning 45 next month, but today is my peak. So you should be proud if you beat me. Comment was never translated at all. That comment alone had so much context and weight, since he had also mentioned to the people around him that if he loses, he would consider retiring. Secondly, he mentioned on how the audience was asked things like, clap if you think Daigo is going to win, right in front of the players pre-match. That kind of interaction showed that the event organizers didn't fully understand the seriousness and magnitude of the match, damn. So right there he said, and you know what, I kind of thought that when Ryan was translating, there was a point when Daigo said everything and Ryan kind of paused and go, yeah. So he's very excited. Like, it was almost like Ryan was trying to catch up with the translation and figure out which parts he was going to tell. I don't know. I'm not the translator, but that's the way it kind of came across. And then right here he says, you know, he made that comment saying, I'm 45. I'm turning 45 next month, but I'm in my prime, baby. So you should be proud if you beat me. That was never translated. He also said that one of the biggest things is if I lose this match, I might retire. That is huge. You know how big of a headline that is? That also was never translated. Then he said something about, I guess Daigo also mentioned how the audience was asked things like clap if you think Daigo was going to win and clap if you think Mena's going to win, which they totally thought was a lack of respect. So going even deeper from that, others responded saying specifically delayed by an hour. Now they're talking about the event itself. Delayed by an hour without any announcement. Audio and video kept blasting at full volume and cutting off repeatedly throughout. Subtitles for the interview were incorrect. MC who kept taunting that Mena was the away player. Display showed Umehara as the winner, even though Mena won. Completely failed to understand the spirit of Beast Path is not entertainment, but a duel. I even see High Fight adding to this right here, saying, I think Ryan is absolutely the most suitable interpreter when it comes to knowledge of players and games and language skills, but I felt that handling the host plus interviewer plus interpreter all by himself was way too heavy of a burden. I think it would have been great if we just had, or if it was just the usual Earl and Ryan duo. That one has 1.7 thousand likes. Now, this is where it gets even deeper because the general manager, Rick, the Hadu, actually apologizes. I guess they got their ear to the floor, right? They listening to them FGC streets and like, yo, people is upset. We are here to apologize. He issued this right here saying, we acknowledge that our preparation and considerations for the historic match schedule at Legends Live were insufficient. As the result, we deeply regret having disappointed all the players, fans, and partners who deserved a far better experience. On behalf of EVO, we sincerely apologize. That has 1,000 likes. Now, underneath him, y'all, they lighting his ass on fire. And this is all the Japanese community. These are all translated comments right here talking about, don't try to end it with just a measly 7 lines like this. You gotta be kidding me. And despite the players having prepared in earnest for this match months in advance, why wasn't the organizing committee fully prepared? It's no wonder people might think that they were taking this battle lightly. The staging, which seemed to treat the showdown between the two as mere entertainment, was also disappointing. And never forget, or I'll never forget, how you used the Beast Path as a tool for making money and then discarded it. Underneath that, by cutting costs at the venue or on the venue rental fees and combining setup day with event day, they ended up committing a fatal mistake. EVO shouldn't be a company or operation that stoops to such petty measures. EVO grew big because of the players, yet the respect for the players was literally zero. That was the saddest part. And was truly awful management. There was no respect for the players or the community. This is the worst management I've ever seen. And Legends Live ain't it, man. We came here to see the Beast Path. You trampled all over the Beast Path we all carefully built together. Don't ever get involved with the Beast Path again. Isn't it the pro's job to go all out providing what the audience wants to see? You did a half-assed job without even researching the Beast Path up until now. I will never forgive you. Then wrapping it up right here, this guy, the GM of EVO that put together in such a lame-ass way on the Beast Path, even handing boring cue cards to Ryan, even egging on applause, the bastard. If you feel sorry, then bow your head to MenaRD and Umehara too, and try hosting it one more time. Why don't you? And there you have it. Okay, before we wrap this up, man, Daigo actually recently streamed. I think the day after that whole event, he talks about that comment that he made about retiring if he loses, which is crazy because nobody but the Japanese audience knew that he even said that, apparently because it wasn't translated, right? Right here they say, Umehara-chan talks about his feelings after completing the Beast Path, and this is Daigo's quote right here, saying, I was really able to pour my heart into it like I haven't in recent years. In the midst of Street Fighter 6, where I couldn't think of myself as strong, the sensation from my younger days of, hey, I'm pretty strong, came back as I geared up for the Beast Path. I also thought I would retire if I lost, but I felt a real connection now and the fire is lit. Then the poster wraps it up saying, the strong Umehara is back, just as expected. Welcome home, Umehara-chan. All right, so there you have it. Japan community, not just them, but people in general are so disappointed. They're like, yo, this was such an important match. And we felt like y'all, basically in a nutshell, came in, you made it Hollywood, and then you dipped. A lot of things that were supposed to be translated weren't. And you saw a lot of people in the comments say, we love Ryan. We don't think it's his fault. We think it's more so the people that organized it. You put too much on the man's shoulders. You did setup day on event day. And that's why every time, you notice, like every time they were about to like switch, like it went from Arslan Ash, I think, to Daigo and Mena, the setup transition took forever. That's why I said, God bless the crowd, because they were there for such a long time. And you could always tell when the commentators are stretching. They're pros at this, so they're used to kind of just like filling the space of dead air. I get all that. But everybody watching is just like, you saw it in the stream. They were like, play the damn set, run the damn set. What are we waiting for? Like, it just seemed like, once again, an event that probably should have took about 2 hours at the most ended up being like 4 hours. Then other comments of like they didn't like of the telling the crowd to applaud and like, if you think he's gonna win, let me hear you make some noise. Like, the cultural difference was just too thick. And I think that, you know, a lot of the Western influence came in and they're like, this is how we usually do stuff. But once again, they were like, no, we don't get down like that. We're taking this whole thing as disrespect. All right, and next up, real quick, let's do a first outline of what the hell is happening in EVO Japan right now. First of all, let me see if I can get the schedule. Let me put that, here it is. So the schedule, May 1st through the 3rd. Day 1 is already a wrap. Remember, they are like 14 hours ahead of us? I believe so. But this is day 1 right here. You can see it starts basically at 5 p.m. Now, this is all the English broadcast. So it's going to start at 5 p.m. each day. I guess that's West Coast time, and then it goes on. So you could see starting with Guilty Gear, going all the way to 2XKO, wrapping up at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, or maybe even 5 o'clock in the morning. Street Fighter is showing up or starting the next day, or I'm sorry, no, that's still day 1. And then, so they're wrapping up a lot just in day 1 alone. Day 2, you got Fatal Fury starting it off with Melty Blood, and then going all the way once again to like 5 o'clock in the morning. And then on day 3, you just got Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6, the big 2, the bangers, wrapping it up on day 3. Well, number-wise, if we talk about registration-wise, the big one is Street Fighter 6. Tekken, I think, had how many entrants? I don't want to do it in, I don't want to talk shit, but I know they had like far less. Like Street Fighter had over 7,000 entrants, biggest tournament ever for Street Fighter 6. Tekken 8 had like 1,000 or something like that. It was pretty low in comparison is what the hell I'm trying to say. But unfortunately, man, it looks like there were some technical difficulties going on with EVO. I saw Big Bird post this saying, my first match in pools, and I see this on my setup. And you can see the screen, I guess, is already frozen and has an error message. So basically saying like, what the hell is this? Even Leffen has a lot to say right here, saying EVO top 8 match and only one monitor has huge lag spikes every 5 seconds. Can't make this shit up. Underneath that, he said, I tried to find a TO between rounds, but there's no one on stage during top 8. New monitor swap now with 0 lag, LOL. But then he says, 15-minute break while they figure out what happened. So because there's no head TOs presenting during top 8 on main stage, what is this? He goes deeper right here saying legit jokes. I couldn't get in the zone after this horrible TOing, but congrats to my boy Noon. If I'm gonna get hoed, there's nobody I'd rather get hoed to. We shall have a real set soon. And then, wrapping it up with Leffen, he says, now they're playing the wrong losers match in order, laugh out loud. Then you even got Punk the God right here saying, EVO Japan has something wrong with the consoles. I never get this problem anywhere else. Tournament is literally just a bad experience every year. This might actually be my last time coming here, sadly, because I love Japan and the community, but I can't keep supporting a bad event. People responding underneath that, by the way, this has 1.3 thousand likes. Underneath that, they say, yeah, the setups were horrendous, laggy like last year, and when the love of the scene is strong, but the experience keeps letting you down is the hardest part. And we wrap it up with Punk again saying, 2 years in a row at EVO Japan, I lose to the PS5, making controller do the stupid walkback malfunction in Fatal Fury shit is so frustrating. Like, this console is literally a piece of shit. And there you have it. Now, there's a lot of hype moments. I love how I just went straight into this. This was on my timeline. You know, a lot of people talking. I'm always interested in what people are saying, especially the pros at Japan or EVO Japan. So basically what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of hype moments. There's a lot of good stuff. EVO day 1 is a wrap. We're on, I believe, day 2 now. I'll get to that. I promise I will make a video showing the clips of the highlights and the good stuff. This honestly was the first thing that popped up on my timeline when I opened it early this morning. So I thought it was interesting because I remember last year at EVO Japan, Punk and other people were saying the same thing, which leads me to believe, I'll say this before we wrap it up. We have Daigo versus Mena, Japan FGC being so frustrated and feeling disrespected. Then we got EVO Japan Technical Difficulties. Not to say it's not a great event, no, obviously. But with all that being said, it seems like the EVO team just has a really, like, so much on their plate. Mind you, next year, they're supposed to add like 6 more EVOs. Isn't it supposed to be a total of 9 EVOs by next year on top of like a Grand Evo championship. Well, I'm like, how are we gonna pull this off if we're struggling at this level? Now, once again, grain of salt, because I'm not saying they can't, and obviously they've done a great job for what, you know, the task at hand, but it just seems like, man, it's gonna quadruple by next year. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe at the end of the day, all that means is more job opportunities for people in these countries. But, you know, one could hope. Either way, that's what's going on right now. We'll get to the hype stuff either tonight or tomorrow. How y'all feeling? Let me know. That is Butt Check family. Appreciate the massive love, man. Hope you guys are having a good one. It is Friday, the weekend is here. So either I'll post another one late tonight or we'll do one or two tomorrow. There is a lot. So enjoy your weekend, man. As always, I don't know what it is, but I know somehow, some way, it's about to get better. Love y'all forever. Peace.
Blah, blah, blah. Subscribe.
You pre-order because pre-orders are available now. It's coming out soon. Assemble your team of a legendary Marvel characters into Ultimate 4v4 Tag Team Fighter. And you don't want to miss Sunday morning because there's a special announcement from the dev team. We don't know what it is because, one, all three of us do not like being spoiled. We want the genuine reaction. So you guys need to be here with us so we can just react. And now now y'all thinking there, like, what is the announcement? What is coming? But don't forget, Sunday morning.
All right, so I'm going to